Thompson in the 1940s, where he showed that if you have a load-bearing structure such as a bridge, or if you have an animal, they will, because all of these structures are load-bearing, the structures will remain the same. Because gravity is a big force which tends to push organisms, tend for them to collapse, and therefore, in order to withstand the forces of gravity, you have to have structures that are compatible with the force of gravity. So this, by and large, is for large animals. But one event happened, which I call one of the biggest events on planet Earth, and that was the start of photosynthesis. If you look at this graph here, this is the origin of the Earth. This is a log scale. If you look at the origin of the Earth, about 2 billion years ago, or 2.2 billion years ago, you had organisms that started to photosynthesize. What does that mean? They took sunlight and carbon dioxide and they threw oxygen into the atmosphere, so the level of oxygen greatly rose. If you look at trees in a forest, a tree in a forest stands up against the force of gravity. So you had two forces in operation that controlled organisms. One was the force of gravity that restricted its height, and the other was a force, for instance in trees, where the trees tried to, next slide please, try to become as tall as possible so that they could garner as much sunlight as possible. And therefore you had two opposing forces. One, and it applied to marine life as well, because photosynthesizing organisms would go to the photic zone, and other organisms that were predators of these would again go to the photic zone. So the photic zone became one of the prime areas where this confrontation took place. And on land as well, the higher you went, the more sunlight you got. So there was a problem that was created where earth-centric forces like gravity tended to collapse things. Other forces tended to make them rise. Now, if you have a large animal such as this, for instance, a dinosaur is a cold-blooded animal, and cold-blooded animals lose heat gradually, they gain heat gradually. So, for them, you have a great volume to surface area. The volume to surface area is very large, but as soon as a dinosaur or any animal becomes smaller and smaller, the surface area to volume changes, and the smaller you get, if you are especially cold-blooded, you need to have external insulation, so that you